When the first patient was seen, then for me personally it was a miracle. To have sitting on a pew in church, to go from that to actually having a functioning clinic that can help take care of patients, I felt was miraculous. This clinic has helped to serve many people in Tennessee and also in Kentucky and Mississippi. The clinic has helped ease pain and suffering in patients. It's also helped provide a ministry for the church, and it has helped to provide services that were sorely needed. I hope that this presentation and this clinic will help inspire you to perhaps start either some other clinic or help some other benevolent organization that can serve humanity. Welcome to this presentation of the St. Sampson Medical Clinic. I would like to thank each of you for being here during this presentation, and I also would like to thank the viewers online as well. To start off and tell you just a little bit about myself, I'm a board-certified rheumatologist. I work with Vanderbilt University off-site in Franklin, Tennessee. I'm originally from a small town in Kentucky. My parents are from a smaller town in Kentucky. Both of them are from farming families. My father was the first in his family to attend college and eventually graduated from veterinary school. At completion of his education, my grandmother told him that you need to use your talents to help the farmer. If not, I'll consider your education a waste of time. That always had an impact on me, feeling that I should do more with my education than just earn a living, but also to give back. But I really didn't know what kind of opportunities God would provide for me. During medical school, I went on a couple of different medical mission trips, one to southern Mexico, one to Thailand. However, through my medical training, I felt the best fit for rheumatology. But rheumatology really didn't lend itself well to foreign missions. My wife and I moved from South Carolina to Nashville back in 2005. The priest at the time at Holy Trinity was Father Mark Airy. During a Bible study one evening, he told us that there were no Greek Orthodox medical clinics in the United States, which personally I found discouraging, but at the time thought I didn't know what I could do about it. Fast forward a couple of years, and I was on the board of the Lupus Foundation of America Mid-South chapter. And while on that board, the CEO at the time, Sherry Hammond, made me aware of a problem of uninsured patients in Tennessee. So the problem was 1 out of 4 people in Tennessee did not have health insurance. Some of those patients have rheumatologic diseases like lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. And untreated, these diseases can cause chronic and severe pain, they can lead to irreversible joint damage, and they can actually have a significantly increased risk of death. And at the time, there were no dedicated rheumatology clinics in Tennessee. Fast forward a couple more years to 2010. June of 2010, Father Gregory Honholt was a priest at the parish, and one Sunday he talked about St. Sampson the Hospitable. St. Sampson was a physician back about 1,500 years ago, and he cared for the poor. The emperor of Rome at the time was Justinian. Justinian became ill and asked for all the different physicians in his empire to come and try to heal him. None of them were successful. Finally, someone asked Sampson to go. Sampson was able to heal the emperor, to which the emperor said, "I'll give you whatever you want." Sampson's request was a hospital for the poor. That hospital was built and it lasted for a couple hundred years. At the end of Father Gregory's presentation, he said, "You don't have to try and change the world, just do your little part." So, on hearing that story, a potential solution came to mind. Potentially, we could have a rheumatology clinic for uninsured, and the clinic could actually be at the church. This would provide a niche within the medical community. Having the clinic at the church would also force the community, both the medical community and the community at large, to recognize that our parish was directly involved in helping those in need. Now, To go forward with having a clinic on the church premises, we had to have church approval. We had approval from His Eminence Metropolitan Nicholas, Father Gregory, the parish council, as well as the parish assembly. A plan such as this, a lot of different issues had to be addressed. So one was that patients would only be seen by appointment only and by referral only. This accomplished a couple of different goals. If they're only by referral, then all the patients will have a primary care clinic. By having a primary care clinic, then this ensures, because our clinic would not have labs or x-rays on site. By having a primary care clinic, they would be able to get their labs and x-rays through the referring clinic. Secondly, on the referral form, it states, I certify this patient has no insurance and is signed by the provider. This way, we also ensure that we only see patients who don't have insurance. By having the patient seen by appointment only, we don't have hundreds of patients potentially showing up and camping out, all wanting to be seen. This way, there's only going to be a manageable number of patients at a time. The clinic would be open one Saturday a month. And then various legal documents had to be obtained. 501c3 applications, charter, bylaws, articles of incorporation, as well as policies and procedure. During the time when we were getting church approval, then I was fortunate to be on the board of another medical clinic for uninsured, and it just so happened that I was able to have access to all of their documents and transfer that and use that as a basis for the documents for this clinic. Of course, insurance, medical malpractice insurance, directors and officers insurance, as well as general liability insurance. For volunteers, we had to have every volunteer sign HIPAA consents. The clinic was basically supported by two pillars. One was Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church. They provided the rooms, which would be both waiting rooms as well as exam rooms, storage for clinic supplies, internet access, mailbox, most of the volunteers, as well as in-kind donations such as carts, signs, and business cards. The financial contribution was from the Lupus Foundation of America Mid-South chapter. So even before we were approved 501c3, they were able to donate money to help us get started. What I'd like to do now is take you through the process of how a patient goes from being referred all the way through to their visit. The first step is the website, www.stsampsonclinic.com. A referring physician goes to the website, and there's a referral form on the website. They print that off and complete the form. The form is then faxed to the number on the form, which is received by HIPAA-compliant eFax. Once that's received, then the patient is called and scheduled an appointment. Next, the patient will be mailed a new patient packet. The patient packet gives directions to the church as well as expectations, such as this clinic provides no scheduled medications under any circumstances. Also, if the patient doesn't speak English, they need to provide their own translator. Patients are also asked to bring shorts and a t-shirt in case they have to change, as we don't have gowns here at the clinic. There's a logo on the letterhead of the letter that they received, as well as on the entrance window. And then at a typical patient visit, the patient arrives, they register, and there's a $10 donation that we ask from the patients. The $10 donation is not to gouge those who are in need, but it's so that they feel vested in their own care. It's a human nature that if we get something for free, that we tend to not ascribe as much value for it. Even if it's a small amount, patients still feel more vested and they're more compliant with their care when they pay something for it. If a patient cannot pay, we've always seen those patients. And on more than one occasion, when those patients have not been able to pay, when they go back to the room, another patient, complete stranger to them, will come up and will say, you know what, I want to pay $10 for them. The large majority of these patients, even though they're uninsured, work. But they may have 2 or sometimes 3 part-time jobs, but not have health benefits. Once the patient registers, a medical volunteer, typically a registered nurse, will have them take vital signs. Next, the patient is taken back to a room with the provider, and they're evaluated, and then they're given orders for labs and or imaging, and then if appropriate, the patient's given a prescription. This is Dr. Michelle Ormseth. She also is a Vanderbilt physician, a rheumatologist, who has been helping with the clinic since the beginning. This is Julie Barnes, who's a nurse practitioner, who also works in rheumatology in Franklin, who's been helping out with the clinic. This is a patient information table that we set up. It has information about different diseases, such as lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. It also has the icon of St. Sampson, as well as information about orthodoxy. At the clinic, we don't do what I would refer to as direct evangelism, walking up to people and ask them about their beliefs. However, we do what I would refer to as indirect evangelism, meaning we care for them, and if one of them had a question about orthodoxy, we have brochures available. We have Father Gregory's business cards available as well. At the end of clinic, patient data is backed up on a separate storage device. The supplies are stored in cabinets, tables and chairs are returned, the money is collected, prepared for deposit, and all the patient data is removed from the church. How that patient data occurs is that the clinic has its own electronic medical record system. And the clinic works because we have excellent IT support by Damon Miltner. Here he is helping setting up the clinic. The clinic only uses paper when we print out prescriptions. This picture just shows the rooms that are used during the clinic after we clean up. The goal of the clinic is, after we complete clinic on Saturday, when parishioners come in on Sunday, they have no idea whether that was a clinic day or not. To give a little demographic data about the clinic, the first patient was seen in February of 2012. As of today, June 4, 2015, we've had 343 patients seen for 803 patient visits. Most of the patients are Caucasian, however, we have had a fair amount of Hispanic as well as African American. And then we've had patients from Albania and Iraq and Egypt. Most of the patients also are female, which is characteristic of most rheumatologic diseases, which have a female predominance. We've seen patients from 29 counties in Tennessee, 6 patients from Kentucky, and 1 from Mississippi. Disease is treated at the clinic. This is not an all-inclusive list, but the majority of diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, as well as Sjogren's, gout, inflammatory arthritis, scleroderma. For donated medications as well as donated service that the clinic has provided, we've had at least 18, actually a few more than that, patients treated with either Enbrel, Xeljanz, or Humira, and just recently we've also had a patient start on Symphony, and these patients have been able to get these medicines for free. These medicines cost about $25,000 a year. The drug company will provide these medications for free if they're prescribed by a board-certified rheumatologist, which these patients did not have available before the clinic. Several of these patients have been on the medications 2 years. One patient's been on the medications for 3 years, which is well over $500,000 worth of free medication. From a professional fee standpoint, based on charges for if an uninsured patient was seen at Vanderbilt, we've provided $48,000 in consultation fee and $54,000 in fees for return visits, so a little bit over $100,000 in professional services. One of the aspects of the clinic that we started from the beginning was having comment cards so that patients could say thank you in an anonymous way about how the clinic has helped them. So we have these cards which state, please tell us what the care you received at St. Sampson has meant to you. And this patient wrote, everything. I've not been able to get insurance for 10 years and could not afford a rheumatologist if you wonderful folks weren't here. Thank you. Which makes you think about 10 years of waking up every single day, hurting, in pain, not being able to do what you want. When that kind of situation happens, it's very easy to lose hope. So it's nice that this clinic at the church has been able to provide hope for some patients. In On this card, it says, "So great and helpfully, thanks a lot." Now, I know the patient didn't write this because she doesn't speak hardly any English, so her husband did. They're both Hispanic. When I first saw this patient, she was a young mother in her late 20s, and when I would ask her to make a fist, all she could do was about like that. After being treated with different medications, specifically some of the newer medication that they could not have afforded, after seeing her for a few months, and I asked her the same question, she was able to do like this. And for a young mother, there's a lot of problems that you have when that's all you can do. I would like to mention, when I started this clinic, then this clinic we went through with the metropolis, and to be quite honest, I really wasn't aware of Focus. Focus is pan-Orthodox service organization to provide benevolent services to the community. And I've been in communications with Focus. If another parish were interested in starting a benevolent clinic, you could go to our website and contact me, or you can also go to Focus. They have a lot of resources available for Orthodox parishes. There's a lot of credit to be distributed for this clinic. I've told people before, we're not a basketball team, we're a football team. I can't name all the people that's helped. It's too many. People who have helped significantly: Stephanie Davis, volunteer coordinator, provides a great service on organizing volunteers. Damon Miltoner, as I showed you, our IT support is there, has put in a huge number of hours for the clinic. My wife, Stacy, also in administrative capacity, has provided very significant services to the clinic. One of my favorite verses is John 15:5. "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you'll bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing." So at the end of the day, if you want to give credit, look up. And lastly, I'd like to show the logo again for the clinic, which was designed by one of the parishioners, as well as our website, www.stsampsonclinic.com. Thank you.